So that obviously is a different position than we may have been expecting, and it got a lot of reaction yesterday. Heather Dinich, our insider, is here, and Paul Finebaum and Des is with us all morning. Paul, I'm going to just give you the first reaction before we go any farther. When you first heard Lincoln Riley say that, what was your first thought?
I was shocked because he has been one of the most transparent coaches in the country, and you have to applaud him for that. But this is the most important moment of the year. What he told us in May, June, and July really doesn't matter. It matters now because it involves the health and well-being of not only his team, but the other team. And I think he's just flat out wrong.
Desmond, how about you? Because it feels to me like it's one thing to be transparent and not want to give information to your opponent, but I think everyone has to feel confident in the level of transparency and concern that the school and the program have for the coronavirus and their own players. What do you think of this approach?
Yeah, I tell you what, Greeny, I was really surprised, but I do understand the mentality of a coach. They always think competitive advantage to competitive disadvantage, and that was his thinking process. But this is bigger than a game. He has to understand that, we need to collect data because this is a new virus, and we're still trying to figure out how to attack it. We're trying to figure out what we must do to put these student athletes in the best position possible to stay healthy. And the only way to do that is to continuously collect data like they do in the NFL. Now, the NFL, they actually continuously update their protocol. They've been extremely successful. That's because everyone's on board in collecting data. So I think, as transparent as Lincoln Riley has been, I think he may want to rethink the statement that he released yesterday.
Heather Dinich, I have so many questions for you. First off, what reaction did you hear from people around the sport and around the country yesterday after Lincoln Riley said what he said?
Well, look, Dabo Swinney at Clemson said essentially the same thing. This is a problem because it's not just Oklahoma. ESPN conducted a survey of just 9 questions regarding testing, and almost half of the Power 5 schools declined to respond. This is not an ankle injury, Greeny. This is a public health crisis. And when you're talking about one team going to play another team, if Oklahoma has 40 kids out, I would want to know if I'm Texas. And if I'm the referee, the game official, right? Anyone on that field should have the right to know. You don't need to know names, but you need to know numbers.
Yeah, and so, Heather, maybe if you listen to what Desmond is saying there, maybe this is a decision coaches shouldn't be allowed to make. And maybe you're making that point as well, that coaches are always going to look at competitive disadvantage. That's their job. Maybe someone else's job should be to make sure that the more important things are taken care of.
That's something I think that either the NCAA or the Football Oversight Committee should raise. It should be a universal policy, because when you're talking about competitive disadvantage, what about the team that goes to play Clemson, like Wake Forest, for example? And again, they don't know. Dabo Swinney said the ACC coaches agreed to say, hey, we're going to have this guy out, this guy out, and this guy out, but we're not going to tell you why. How is that possible if you have teams that are infected with COVID-19, which spreads so rapidly? It has to be, in my mind, a universal rule somehow.
Paul, let me give you the final word here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a tip of the iceberg, Greeny, and I think we need to put our seatbelt on because, coaches are coaches, as Des said, and they will find every advantage they can find, even looking past this pandemic and this virus. And I think it's really going to be a shame if the integrity of college football is seriously impugned by what we're seeing. But I will make a prediction right now. It will be. And you will see coaches trying to do anything and everything they can to avoid giving the entire truth to the public and, most important, to their competitors.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.